Hey, what's up, guys? First thing I want to do is apologize for how long it's been to get this episode out since the last one, and I just really been finding it hard lately to find time to film and get stuff done, so I'm gonna do it right now. But basically, this episode really is just gonna be it's just gonna be an X-Force episode of Custom Corner. I am gonna show you one thing that's not X-Force related. I put this little chill room for the new Ninja Turtles together, and some people wanted to see that, so I'm going to put that in here. But everything else is just going to be really X-Force related, like some just cool stuff you can do, like swap those wings on that X-Force Angel on the X-Men Classics Archangel and stuff, which looks pretty cool. You don't have to mod it or anything. They fit in they're a little loose, but they fit in tight enough where you can get some good shots and stuff, and I'll show you that too. And this little mod that I did for the X-Force Wolverine, so he could have an unmasked head and stuff like that. But the main focus on this episode, like I said at the end of episode 2, I'm going to show you guys how to do an X-Force Deadpool, and this Deadpool is way better than the one Hasbro's putting out. Like, sure, buy it or something to keep it mint on card, but if you want like a really dope X-Force Deadpool, then I would suggest doing something similar to this. Maybe not my recipe, but this body mold for Bucky Cap is, like, I think perfect for Deadpool. I think that one that they use is just a little too thin for Deadpool, I think. And this is all the pieces we're going to use. We're going to use the like knife sheaths from the Shield agents down in their ankles. We're going to use those for the sword sheaths, the Punisher boots, the Bucky Cap body, the holster from the Captain America Nick Fury. We're going to use Bucky's belt. We're going to paint his gun and his knife. To cut down on the rub and stuff, like right here, because I know a bunch of you guys know that the knife like rubs the shit out of the rib cage on the Bucky Cap, so we're going to cut a little bit off of here just to avoid issues like that. And we're going to use the Hasbro Deadpool head. I like that one more than the Toy Biz one, for real. That's the only thing about. I'm not really a big fan of the Toy Biz Deadpool myself either, but I think the body is better than the one Hasbro used. But we're going to use this head right here that I have a cast of. And yeah, these are going to be the parts, and here in a second I'll get everything cleared off. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this body apart, like take the knees out and take the kneecaps out, take the forearms off of here, take the elbows off and everything, and we're gonna have to wash it. I mean, you want to wash it and get all the factory mold release and stuff like that off of there. So let me clear all this stuff out now, get my stuff together, and we'll talk about that in a second, and we'll get going on this X-Force Deadpool. And he's going to come out just like this. Alright, cool. Well, I'll get all this stuff out of the way, and I'll be back in just a second. Alright, guys. We got them taken apart. You just use the same stuff I showed you in episode 1. Just heat up the area and pop the little pegs out of there. One side's smaller than the other. Just press them out that way. Press the smaller side inward and press the big side out towards the back. Sorry I wasn't able to show you that. I just didn't have a way to set up my camera or anything to show you that. So yeah, make sure you keep your little pegs and stuff separated, like your elbow pegs and your knee pegs. Just make sure you keep those things where you can see them and keep them separated. Then we got everything taken off. We're going to wash everything. We're going to wash the knife, the gun, the little sheaths for the knife, for the swords, the belt, the boots, the body, everything. Just get some hot water, and I don't like using dish soap. Like, I think dish soap itself leaves a film on there if you don't rinse it well enough and everything. And right now I'm just going to show you how to wash some of this stuff real quick. I probably won't show me washing all this stuff, but you just use the same thing. Just get yourself some hot water, and I just use regular like Dial, like antibacterial hand soap and stuff like that. And just get yourself an old toothbrush or something like that that you know you don't use anymore or whatever to scrub the thing. So just I know this isn't the most ideal view for you guys, but we'll get her done. So basically what you're going to do is, what all the pieces you want to wash, is what I do is I'll just take it, dip it in the water. I'll give it a nice like rub down with my hands and stuff like that first, a nice wash like that. Make sure you put plenty of soap in there. You want suds and all that good stuff. I'm going to make a damn mess showing you guys how to do this, so my hand's not in the way. Keep paper towels handy for sure. Put some paper towels right here. Keep those handy. And then just I'll like splash this around in the soapy water and make sure you move all the joints back and scrub inside there. Get in all the little crevices. That's why you want to use a toothbrush or something similar to that. Get inside all the crevices. Make sure you pull his torso all the way back. Normally, sometimes I'll have them, before I even pull them out, I'll scrub them in the water and stuff like that too. Make sure you move the arms where you can bend it in the furthest or whatever to get inside the disc on the shoulder joint there. Same thing, move it the other way and do the same thing on it, and do it on both shoulders like this. The reason sorry, I could have said this a long time. The reason we're doing this is just get rid of like the mold release and stuff on there, and any oils or stuff that are on the figure already, because your paints won't stick to the figure very well if you don't get all that crap off of there. Make sure to turn it up and get the little piece that sticks out here, because you're going to paint that and everything. Get all the way up inside the hip joints there. Move the legs, of course, in all directions, just so you can get everywhere, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, of course, get right here too where they connect and everything. Make sure you get up in there. Even up under here, you know, just get it all off of there, because we're going to paint all the way up to the little peg here. I don't like to paint the peg most of the time, because I just feel it just adds an extra layer and the parts fit perfect, so I don't paint the peg or the inside of the bicep or anything where they plug in. Cool. So basically that's what you do. Just you know, do it a couple of times just to make sure that you scrubbed it really well and got all that stuff off of there, and then you just take it and like do this at like your sink or something like that, so you can rinse it off and everything. But you'll just put all the parts in there and do the same thing, the boots, all that stuff. You'll just wash everything exactly like that, so you don't have to worry about your paint not sticking. And then just you know, dry it off, go outside or something, and like the body and stuff, there's lots of places for the water to set and all that, so I'll go out and like shake it out outside and get all the water out of there once I rinse all the soapy water and stuff off of everything. And I'll take the body and go shake it out outside or something, make sure it gets out everywhere. And maybe sometimes I'll take even maybe my blow dryer and blow inside the joints and make sure after I shook it out all the water gets out of there and stuff, so it dries a little faster. And then just take a paper towel and I should get all the soap and stuff off first, but just rub it down with a paper towel and everything after you fully rinse it and all that, and then let it set and dry, and make sure you don't want to start like painting on it and then the joints wet in there, and then you pull your paint and it starts smearing and stuff, because you don't want that. So just make sure you shake it out and dry it really well. Alright, cool. Well, we're gonna wash all this stuff off, and then once we get it all dried up and everything, we're gonna start doing a little bit of painting. There's very little prep work though. I love the Bucky Cat body for the simple fact is the prep work is cut down a lot on this figure for real, because like there's plenty of space inside the joints here, where especially if you use the paints that I show you what to use in this, you won't have any problems with like the paint rub issues or anything if you do everything the exact way I'm telling you how to do it. Unless I haven't found a Bucky, like there's plenty of space in there where you're not going to catch any rub. We won't even have to sand these joints down. I've done a few of these Deadpools and haven't had to sand down any of the bicep stuff. We will have to hit a little bit of sandpaper on the neck joint, because it's a little, the backside's fine, but going forward we catch a little bit. It's a little tough, so it's going to rub that paint off right there. So we're going to sand that down a little bit, but we'll get to that in the next little segment, and we'll prep some of this stuff up that we need to, and I'll show you what you need to do to that, and then we'll get painting on this sucker. Alright guys, I'll see you in a second. Alright guys, what's up? Everything's dry and everything, so we're going to get into a little bit of the small amount of prep work that this figure actually requires, and we're going to start painting a little bit on this thing. First off, I'm just going to tell you what paints we're going to use for the actual body and everything right now. I'll get to the weapons and stuff when we get to that, but we're going to be using Model Masters acrylics for this entire figure. Like for real, these are my favorite paints. I like these paints more than anything. I do use Citadel sometimes, but only for certain things, which I've probably said a million times in all my videos. But we're going to use dark gull gray, flat black, and we're going to use insignia red for his eyes and like the belt buckle and stuff. The insignia red's a little bit darker, and it's like flat. It's not a gloss or anything, which I personally prefer. If you guys want to use a gloss, you can use the Guards red is what it's called from Model Master. That's more of a shiny, glossier type red. I just like the more flat colors, really. But alright, here we go. We're gonna get in the horrible view again. And I just got my paintbrush, and I really don't suggest like dipping in the bottle for real. You don't have to thin this out. You can use it straight from the bottle, but I would pour it in something. Normally I'd have like those little pallets and stuff that you can get at Walmart, and like little crafts, like a big middle section and a bunch of little spots for paint all the way around, but I don't have one handy, so we're just going to use like a baby food jar. And you guys have got kids, I saved all the lids for mixing paints and all that stuff whenever I don't have pallets handy. So we're just going to put a little bit of black paint in here before we start painting, and we're just going to paint out of there and add if we need to. That way you can control like the amount of paint that's on your brush more, because once you get down to a certain point in these bottles, you can't see anything in there. When you start dipping, you'll get too much paint and get it all up in the brush, and your brush will get gross. Which, I mean, I'm guilty as charged. I've definitely dipped out of the bottle, but I suggest you guys don't do it. Alright, really the only place that this figure really needs prepping other than the washing and stuff is just right here, the front part of this neck. I already sanded just a little bit because I really only want to do a little bit on the camera, but we're just going to move it back as far as we can. Back here seems to be fine, but just in case, we're going to hit back here too. But you're going to take like extra fine sandpaper. Like I would suggest a 600 or 1,000. 1,000's a little smooth, but I would, if you're going to use I would suggest doing 600 and then using 1,000 to completely smooth it out, because you don't want to use the really coarse sandpaper and it'll cut into it and make it look all ugly, and you'll be able to see that and stuff, and it just too much sand and it's pointless. So you just take the sandpaper and fold it across, and then lightly just go across. Like you even want to get the outside edge of this neck here too, because sometimes the heads, when they go back, will rub on there and it'll start rubbing the paint off there and stuff. So you'll even want to hit the little outside edge here of the actual neck other than just the disc. So we'll go across a little bit here. The reason we're doing this is just to get the paint. It'll give the paint a better surface to stick to in that area. I don't sand down the whole figure. It's pointless to do that. It's not necessary. Some people do, and I'm not knocking that, but I just think that most of the time it's unnecessary prep work. So we'll just make sure we go around and we hit the edge of the neck all the way around to the front. And most of the time while you're doing this, if you press it good, you can keep your finger in the right spot, and you'll hit the disc too while you do this in most spots. But like down here, see, we didn't hit that, so we're going to have to angle in there and get that little section of disc right there. I don't think that little part is going to be rubbing, but and be gentle too. You don't have to sand really hard. You don't want to make it too flat or start like reshaping the actual plastic or anything. You just want to give yourself a nice place for the paint to stick to. And then you're going to want to rinse this again too, because you don't want to have any like debris from the sandpaper inside there or something, and it comes out when you start painting. You start pushing like debris from the sandpaper around or something, depending on if you use good or cheap sandpaper. I would suggest using some reasonably decent sandpaper. If you go to like the dollar store or something and buy that sandpaper, when you sand with it, it all starts coming off and it gets everywhere, so it's just messy to me, and I don't really like using it. Cool, so we got the disc. We're gonna have a nice place for the paint to stick to, and we're gonna dry brush the paint on the joints anyway, because we want to keep the layer of paint in all the joints as low as possible and fully covered, but as low as possible. So I haven't used this water yet, so I'm just gonna clean this off with this. This will do the trick. This sandpaper's pretty good, so there's not going to be a bunch of debris in there, and I'll just clean this off with a little bit of paper towel. Everything else is good. The paint's going to stick to everything else, like the knee joints and stuff like that, since we washed it, and the elbow joints and stuff. And these we won't need to sand down. On a lot of figures, on a lot of other figures though, you'll have to sand down the neck joint, the shoulder discs and stuff inside here. You'll have to take this apart like this and sand all this around here so that the paint doesn't chip off on some, because some of the figures like fit really tight in there, and you just got to make sure you sand it down so you got your paint a place to hold on to. And all this is going to be fine too. We're not going to have to really worry about any rub in the wrist area. These are relatively loose too. Like, they're not loose, like they don't fall or nothing, but you know what I mean. There's enough space and stuff in there. It's not tight enough where it's going to take your paint off. And like I said, we're going to dry brush the joints anyway, so. Alright, cool. Well, I guess I'm going to pour a little bit of this. Oops, we don't want this color. Pour a little bit of black in my little jar top over here. I don't have any on hand either, but I also suggest like having baby wipes on hand to wipe the tops of your bottles when you pour. I just used my paper towel there, but the baby wipes make it gets it nice and clean and stuff, so your jars don't get stuck and get all gross and stuff. Alright, we're going to take our brush. I like to, sorry, let me move my camera a little bit. I like to prime the brush a little bit, and I mean, I just get it a little wet and wipe most of the water and stuff out of there. Just get so the brush isn't all dry and puffy and stuff. And then, like I said, these joints and stuff in here, we're gonna kind of dry brush those, kind of. I mean, like I said, I want my brush just a little moist, no water in it really, but it's just not all super dry and fluffy like a regular dry brush. And we're just going to put a little bit of paint on the brush. Sorry you guys can't see it, I'll move over here a little bit. We're just going to wipe a lot of the paint out of there, and we're going to put just a kind of like a wet dry brush, like a thin layers on the joints here and stuff, and that way when you just put a little bit of paint in them joints and keep the layer thin there, and if you let it dry for a minute and stuff and let it sit for a minute, you could kind of like move the joint. If it's gonna rub, it's gonna rub, so we'll let that dry and won't mess with those joints again, just to make sure that we don't have to prep and sand them down. So we don't want to get all this paint and then find out we have to sand that down. And we're going to do the same thing with the neck joint here. You just want to keep it nice and light, just smooth layers of paint, and this will keep it looking nice and smooth and give it that like almost that factory paint job look too. You want it to look nice. See that neck joint rubbed there a little bit already. I don't know if you guys caught that, but that rubbed already a little bit, so we might have to go back over this after it dries. It's like we might have to re-sand that joint down, so we don't want to get too far in that. And yes, all the black on the figure, I know the figure's a bunch of black, and like, oh yeah, you don't have to paint that. No, I suggest you paint that. I won't just dry brush the Gull Gray over this to make the gray costume. I'll actually put a thin layer of black on all this, just because, I don't know, I just feel lazy and stuff if I don't paint it. It might seem ridiculous, like I don't need to do it, but I would just do it if I was you. Sticking to your paint and stuff and just making sure that everything's going to be good. Everything else, you don't want to gob it on, but you want to just get nice thin layers. Make sure you get up inside there and you get the edges coming out. And I'll probably do this black twice, because like I said, I want to keep it thin, so I'll try to do like thin layers. You want to make sure you get into all those little crevices, because when we dry brush the gray on here, all that black inside the detail and stuff's going to start popping out when we start dry brushing the gray on here. Sorry about that, guys, my camera cut off for some reason. But anyway, we're gonna paint everything black. I mean, we're gonna leave these and do those separate because we got to cut those down, and we're not gonna mess with the guns and stuff right now. But all the body stuff, all the bicep pieces, leg pieces, everything else, I know a lot of it's black already, just put a thin layer on there. And these are dried enough, like I said. These dried enough and we can move them around and they're fine. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish painting this black, and I don't know if any of you guys are gonna do this along with me or anything, but just go ahead and finish putting on your thin layer of black on everything. Make sure you cover everything really good. None of the other like white or red or the blue or anything is coming through it. Make sure you get in all the crevices and stuff like that. But alright, cool. Well, I'm going to finish painting all this stuff black, and we're going to come back. I'm going to show you some of the dry brushing that I'm going to do on this guy. Alright guys, I'll see you in a few minutes. Alright guys, sorry, I didn't try to get this far ahead of you here. I filmed this when I was painting it, and I don't know what happened. It keeps like corrupting the file or something, and it won't transfer over, or something happened to the video or something. So I'm going to paint some of this down here and show you the dry brush technique on here. We're dry brushing because I want the Deadpool to have this like kind of like grittier look and not so like super smooth or whatever. Have like I said, like a more like darker, grittier look. If I wanted something like more smooth and look like more like I guess you could say factory or something, I would like wash and like put black underneath the paint and stuff, and then paint over that and wash and all that good stuff. But this is something simple for you guys to do, and it'll look really good. Like you see, we brought out all that detail in the back and chest there by dry brushing that dark Gull Gray from Model Masters. And like I said, normally I wouldn't just dip out of the bottle. I'd put it in my thing, but I have like just enough paint in here to finish this figure, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to dip in the bottle. But if you guys have enough, I would get something to something to put your paint on. And I guess I better state this again. The last video that wasn't working, what I did is I dry brushed all the joints and stuff and painted all the joints, like the knee joints and stuff like that and everything, and then put it back together so I can go back over the legs and everything and just make sure everything's all even and all that good stuff. I did it with the knees, and you've seen it all apart. I painted the knees apart and then put it back together, and the same with the elbows, and they look good in there. And no paint rub. I didn't have to sand these down or nothing. If you just like let the paint cure and don't put it on there wet, or don't only wait like 5 minutes and then try to put your figure back together, it's not going to come out right. You're going to end up chipping the joints up or something like that. But I'll show you guys a little bit of dry brushing here on like the legs, since there's plenty of like detail and sculpt in here. I'll dry brush over this section and show you guys what I'm talking about to achieve this up here. So we'll just, like I said before, we'll just get a little bit of paint on the brush and wipe it almost all the way off. And we'll just start lightly brushing over the muscles and stuff right there. Another little dip. You'll probably have to go over the same spot a couple of times. I go really light and go a couple of times because I don't give a shit how long it takes me to do it or anything. I want the layers of paint to be as thin as possible on there. There we go. Put a little bit more on the brush and see how it's leaving all the black and all the details in there in the leg to bring out the sculpt. Like a lot of the factory toys and stuff, they don't have enough detail in there. Like if I was a sculptor, I would be pissed at all, like a bunch of these toy companies, because like your work is hidden underneath that crappy factory paint and stuff, and none of your hard work will be standing out on the piece really. So it's just solid there, and start to bring it out, and we'll match it up with the knee. Like this is still too dark, so we'll keep going and lightening it up and putting a couple more layers on there until the color is the same as the knee. We want everything to match. That's why I put it back together. I don't want to have to hold the pieces up to each other and match it that way. So I paint all the joints and stuff and then put the figure back together and then redo the rest of the stuff. I did the same thing with the boots too. I keep forgetting there's stuff in the other video that I talked about that I'm going to end up forgetting. But the boots, before I put them on, like you see the gray sticking out there, I painted the top of the boots before I put them on, so that whenever you turn it, the top of the boot's not like black or white or any of that. It's the same gray as the pants. Sorry, I'm going to move you guys real quick. And we'll just keep going over this with a light dry brush until we're happy. And to put this thing back together, you'll First off, all the parts are marked. You'll see like R or L or something on there for right and left, and it'll have it like the knee joint will have an arrow pointing up for the direction that you need to face the knee. And you'll just heat up the joints like around the holes on the leg, and you'll just press the peg back through. Like one side's bigger than the other, so take the small piece and put it through the large end and press it all the way through, and you'll see it pop in there in this hole, and then everything's all secure. Yeah, we still need some more on there. Sorry the figure's shaking and stuff. I don't have an ideal spot for this yet. I'm still not really set up to be doing this, and I can't find a tripod. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on everything today. A tripod for my camera. Alright, cool. Well, this is what you're going to do on the entire figure. Look at the sides and stuff like that aren't that big of a deal right here, because this is all going to be black anyway, and we're going to straighten this up and clean this up with some black and put the line work in there and everything. And the leg, you're just going to dry brush the whole leg, and then we'll paint the black on there later. But you can avoid doing it up here, because we're going to go from this line right here, this cut in his ab articulation, and go from this corner and go up and around with the black that way. Cool. Well, I'm gonna finish hitting this with a dry brush, and you guys should go ahead and do that too if you're gonna do it along with me or something like that. But I'm gonna finish dry brushing this, and we're gonna get it all looking the gray, and then we're gonna go over and we're gonna do all the black details, like the strap over his boot, the soles, the buckles on his boot, and all that good stuff. We're gonna hit all the details, and we're gonna do the head and all that good stuff. But I guess I'll get out of here for a second and finish this up, and then we'll come back in a second. Alright, so now I guess we're gonna line up some of this black. I already did this up here, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna start at this corner where the ab crunch is, right there, and just go straight around all the way to the corner back here. Just use that as your guide, and then go straight down like I already did one side of the leg, and we're going to do this other leg and the stuff down here on the boots, and we're going to paint up his head. You can always line everything up with painter's tape too if you don't feel like messing with trying to paint the straight line, but I just do it freehand. And basically these don't have to line up exactly, because this is going to be covered up by part of the pouches, so you want to just do the leg and just do half. And just do it light. Doesn't have to be real heavy. See, if you mess up, I'll show you. We can either just fix it like that, because this is still going to be kind of covered up by pouches, so you can afford to be off a little at the very top, but down here you got to be more right on. And then we'll just try to go down as far. Okay, sorry guys. Like I was saying, just try to go up as far as you did on the other one. Sorry, I don't know what the hell keeps happening with my camera. This video's turning into this whole little segment's turning into a complete disaster. I'm not really happy about it. Alright, looks like we're down far enough, so we're just gonna cut across here. And we'll go back and line it up in a second. We just want to get our main shape. Sorry about the noise in the background too. And then to help you go around in half up here, find your line when you went under the leg up top. And connect it. This is really hard. Trying to do this on camera where you guys can see shit. Getting in the muscles and stuff, sometimes a pain, sometimes you have to leave it crooked and go dig in there with the brush later and clean it up. It doesn't have to be perfect right away because you can always fix it and clean it up a little bit. Alright, we got our basic shape. Now we'll just go hit a couple of spots and clean it, straighten it up a little bit. Make sure to keep your brush moist and clean and stuff too. You don't want the paint to gunk up on there. There we go. Alright, cool. So now we'll just make sure to connect it up here. We'll make sure we even it up because I twisted the leg around. So sorry, hold on, I gotta take you off camera for a second. Gotta go down a little bit further right here. Alright. Now we're just going to take another brush, hit it with some water real quick, prime it up. You don't want it to be all dry when you get it in the paint, and you want it to go on smooth, so it'll help with the, we won't have any brush strokes in there, so we'll just fill this in here. Thin coats too, you'll probably have to hit it again. I try to do it thin. It might not look as thin as it is on camera as it is here, but and just fill it in. It's of course wet, so we'll have to wait a minute, but we can still do some stuff on the boots as long as you don't touch that. But I would let it dry, but I'm used to doing this, so And we'll go back and touch up around here and stuff too in a minute. So so then next we're going to paint this strap on his boot. You can take it down on the sole here because we're going to paint the sole black too. So just take your finer brush. Make sure you get under the flap too because the flap comes over. Make sure you get it all. Oops. Don't leave your brush in the water, that was stupid. See, I got on camera now, I do stupid shit. Damn it. See, if you catch it right when it's wet too, you can get the paint off. Like the foot just moved because I wasn't holding it right, but you catch it when it's wet enough, you can just wipe it off of there real quick. Make sure if you get it on your finger like I just did, you wipe it off immediately. Then you'll, next thing you know, you go and touch the figure with that paint on there. Make sure we get all the way up under the flap. Oh, sorry, you guys couldn't see that. See, now we got the boot painted, so now we'll go down. Ooh, I just got lucky there, folks. We almost got paint all over this thing. See, like I said, I'm all frazzled and disgusted with this damn camera, and like I said, everything's a disaster now. So now we're going to use a finer brush. Use a finer brush, and we're going to get the buckles on the boots just to add a little more detail to that. I'm basically almost painting this looking through the viewfinder. This is not easy. Don't want to get the little peg that goes through there. See, painting up the buckles there. Cool. Now we got the buckles painted on the boots with the black on the legs. Alright, I guess we're going to do a little bit more dry brushing too, because we still got to do his head. So we're just going to go ahead and set him out of the way there. Make sure your paint's nice and mixed, so shake it up real well. This is just a dry brush. I'm just going to dab a little right out of the cap here. See, we're starting to see some of the detail coming in there. Just like the body, we'll do it a couple of times. And once we get a decent layer on here, we'll put it on the head so we can match the grays. Oh my God. Alright, cool. Well, just make sure you match the grays up with the body and stuff. Like, you got it handy, you can kind of get it close enough and tell. Like, it's still a little dark, I think, so I'm gonna hit it with a little bit more dry brush, put it on there, and you're just gonna paint the inside of the eyes the black there and his eyes red. Alright, cool. Well, I'm going to finish this up and we'll get the head on there, and then we'll talk about the putting the belt on and the harness and the holster and stuff like that, and we'll try to get this guy finished up. Alright, I'll be back in a second. Okay guys, now I'm going to show you how to attach the belt and put the harness on. It's pretty simple stuff, but I got to do it, so I guess I'll just show you anyway, and then I will tell you about the how the sword sheaths and all that. But just get yourself some super glue. Have your belt handy from the same belt we took off of the Bucky cap. Then you got these. When you take it off, you notice you get these little notches that the belt's glued to already. We're just going to use those existing notches there and just put a couple dabs of super glue on the top, and then we're going to make sure we put that peg right back inside that same pouch and press it on there. You want to make sure it dries and all that good stuff. Bring the other side around. It's super glue, so it don't take long to dry. Just do the same thing. Put another couple dabs on this side. Pull it up over and press the pouches right down onto the peg. And then see, like I said earlier, the legs being even with where it comes down right here is not so much a big deal, because the pouches sit right on top of that line, so it doesn't matter. So you can just do the legs halfway and not have to come in too far and make it look weird. We'll put the X on later. That's like my final thing I do. I always wait to do that till the last. It's like the finishing touch. Then you get your holster little harness from Nick Fury. I like to do it with at least one arm off the figure still, and just go ahead and put one arm through there. Just make sure you angle the peg towards the back. It's easier to slide it on. Just slide it up over there. And you kind of want to line it up with the peg hole on his back for like the shield for Bucky. You'll want to line the center up with that for the most part. Back there. The harness and the gun clips get in the way just a little bit, but they're not. It's not too bad. And then the shoes that we do on the back, I'll bring up the other Deadpool, look like that. Well, they are Shield Agent knife sheaths. You just cut them underneath that bottom line down there. Sorry if you can't see that very well, but that bottom line right there, cut it right underneath that, and it'll look like this. And the swords just slide right in there. Like, hold on, I got some swords here. See, the swords just slide right in there. So you'll paint these black, and then you'll super glue them. Oops. You'll super glue them on the back here, like right on the edges of the circle here in the middle. And you put them like, they'll look like that. Like I said, just paint those black and super glue them on his back there. It's alright if you super glue him to his actual back, because you don't really want the harness to move around anyway, so that'll kind of help hold it in place. It doesn't really move that much anyway, but that's what I kind of did with this one. I super glued it to the top and the bottom part here of the harness as much as I could, and then put some super glue underneath it. But that's what you do to that. But But sorry, like I'm like super, like not even like super interested anymore. Like I hate to say that, but I just, the whole video, this whole entire tutorial just turned into a huge disaster, and I have to apologize like 1,000 times for that. So sorry about that. And I'm not even going to do another one until I'm set up right, because I don't want anything else like this happening again, because this was a complete nightmare and just ridiculous. But you guys got the gist of it for sure. But the piece right here is the front of the Wolverine from the Forge and Wolverine 2-pack. I just took the X emblem off the front of them there, and like this right here. Just took the emblem off the front of that, and I'll put it right there in the middle, because that part of the belt's just painted on. Since the symbol's so big, it just covers up all of it, so there's no sense in sculpting or anything like that and taking the time. But really, so that's really it. Just reattach your arm and put it on there, and do like I said with the sheaths from the Shield Agent legs. Just cut the bottom off at that bottom line, paint him black, and super glue him to his back there, and he's perfect. See, this right here is I'm actually making a mold of the X. I forgot to before I put it on this one. This stuff right here is amazing mold putty. It's not going to hurt the figure or anything right here. It's not going to mess with the paint or anything. The figure right here will be just fine. I'm just making a mold of that X symbol so I can put it on here and not have to take another one off of a figure, so I can use it for something else, or just have that base body in case I want to use it for something else. Cool. Well, I'm going to pop the arm on here and get the sheaths and everything on here, and then I'll give you guys a final look at it and stuff when it's done. But I don't know, like I said, I'm sorry that it was such a disaster, and I hope it helped a little bit. I know my segments were shorter, and one of my videos got messed up, and you guys didn't even get to even see me paint the torso and stuff, so I don't know. But I'll just make sure not to even mess with it until I get fully set up where I'm going to do my videos for this and stuff like that. So like I said in the beginning, I got some other stuff. We're going to look at a mod I did for the Wolverine so he can be unmasked. Some little swapping of the wings from Angel to the other Archangel. I guess we'll look at Deathlock too whenever we look at Wolverine. And then, like I said, I got that Ninja Turtles diorama that I'm going to show you guys. So I guess hang in there. And like I said, I'm sorry this was such a disaster. It'll be better next time, I swear. So yeah, we'll just get into something else after this, and I'll show you this guy when he's done. Alright guys, I'll be back in a second. Alright guys, here's a look at the Deadpool, all done next to the other one. Only difference in the two is the red on this one that we just painted is brighter than this one, because this is the original, so I didn't have to paint it, I just glued it on there. But this one was the cast that I made that I had to paint up. And here's a little mold with that amazing mold putty is what it is. You guys seen it when it was stuck on the Deadpool in the last little piece of the video, so just shoved it on there and let it set for, I don't know, about 15 minutes, and then, I mean, it's still all flimsy, but when it stays in its shape, so you can just pour the casting material, which I will do a segment on that in the next episode. I'll show you guys me casting a couple pieces with this cheaper stuff that you guys can get at like Hobby Lobby and stuff. I'll show you guys how to cast some stuff with this stuff and do it pretty cheap, so you guys don't have to go and waste and blow a bunch of money on that expensive stuff when you don't need it for a lot of stuff. And then the sheaths that we glued on, that you glue on there. Oops. Cool. Well, like I said before, sorry that the tutorial for this was such a freaking disaster. But I mean, I'm sure that it helped a little bit in the stuff that I did film. I'm sorry I didn't do the rest. I just got really ticked off at how much of a disaster it turned out to be. So the next one will be like full on ready to go, like no bullshit. Cool. Well, I'll leave you guys with some shots of this guy, and we'll move on, and I'll show you the rest of the X-Force stuff I'm going to show you before we get to the Ninja Turtles room. Alright guys, I'm going to give you a look at this custom Deathlock and this mod that I did for this X-Force 3-pack Wolverine. All I did was I took the variant of the Astonishing X-Men Wolverine and drilled out the peg in his head, and the hole under here in his head so it would fit on the peg on this one. And of course I had to heat and pop this one off and then reshape the peg so this one was fully removable and stuff like that. And I took the cowl, the mask from Dakin, and just repainted it, and it fits on there pretty good. I would take the claws out and stuff right now, but that's just going to take me too long. But the head fits perfect. I still have to repaint it because it was bouncing around in my fodder bin excuse me, for a while, so it's got some scuffs and stuff like that on there, but I think it looks pretty good on here. And like I said, the cowl, the mask fits perfect. I could have matched the gray a little better. I think I'm going to hit it with a darker gray, but I mean it is on the back, so I mean it's really not that big a deal. It's such a small piece, so I think I don't know, I might leave it this way, but just something simple and easy for this guy. I figured, damn, the removable claws, I need to swap the full head if I'm going to have him in relaxed state and stuff, have the mask off, sitting down, kicking it or something, you know. But, I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool, and I posted it on Facebook a while ago, and I don't know, everybody seemed to like it too, and I got a couple requests to send some people some heads and stuff like that for this guy, so I don't know. I guess let me know what you guys think of this thing or whatever. And then I've seen a lot of people talking on Facebook and stuff too about X-Force Deathlocks. I did a review of this guy a while ago. It's in my list of videos somewhere, but I did it. Sorry, I'm trying to straighten this guy out a little bit. I did it a while ago, so detach the gun from his little hose here, because in the issue that I was taking some of my reference material from, his hose wasn't connected to his gun or anything. It was on his it went from his chest and to his belt in the back, so I went ahead and did that. Gave him a paint job. I made these gun holsters out of rubber bands and repainted them and stuff like that. Put on some real metal claws. Like, these things are sharp as hell too. Like, whenever I was making them, they poked me a couple times. They're fucking sharp. With his backpack and stuff on there, I don't know, I liked it like that. I had a couple of other ideas for a recipe for this guy, but I don't know, this one was just alright, and it's just a simple repaint, and it's something that I can do for customers for cheaper, because I don't have to, like, you know, bash a bunch of figures together. If they could just send me this figure and I can do all this, you know, just a repaint. And I mean, come on, just some rubber bands and stuff on there, so it's a little more like affordable than the recipe I was gonna go with, which I'm probably still gonna do because it makes him a bit bulkier. And I heard some people talk about how he's skinny. I like everything about him except for his lower legs. They get really, really skinny down here. That's really my complaint. So I can see why people thought he's a little thin or whatever, but I don't know. I think everything's fine until you get to right here, these little tiny, tiny legs and skinny, skinny feet. Cool. Well, I'll leave it with some shots of these guys, and then I was gonna do the Angel thing now, but I don't have the X-Men Classics right next to me, so I'm gonna do that. I'll do that after I show you some pictures of this guy, and then we'll hit up the Ninja Turtles room. All right, I'll be back in a second. Alright, real quick, I'll show you guys the little wing swap. I mean, all you guys can do about it is show you guys what it looks like and stuff, and then, like usual, I'll show you guys some pictures and stuff like that. But, like, just take the wings off of here, and you got this hole back there. Yeah, the peg don't match, and you don't have to mod anything. I mean, you could if you wanted to, if you want to do it permanent, but I don't know a lot of people that got the extra wings to spare to do that, so... But yeah, they fit in. They're kind of loose, so I mean, I don't know if you'd want to, like, if you displayed them and put them in a flying pose. I don't know if you'd want to put the stand in the wings or not, you know, because he might. Sometimes they're all different. Sometimes the hole's bigger and smaller on figures due to, like, factory stuff. So I mean, it fits mine tight enough where it's okay, but maybe it might not fit yours perfectly. So I don't know, but we'll just unhook the wings from this dude. I don't know, it just makes the X-Men Classics Archangel just look so much cooler with these wings. Excuse me. See? I don't know, it looks so much cooler than hold on, let me grab the other wings real quick. Like, I like these just because of how big the wingspan is and everything, but to get that in a full shot in a picture and be close on the character is, like, damn near impossible. I mean, the wings are cool on this thing, but I mean, this just looks so much better, I think. So much better. I really wish I had a spare set of wings. I would like to get another 3-pack or something if I could get one at a reasonable price and take the damn wings off and put them on here. Because I don't know, I mean, I like this X-Force or X-Men Classics Archangel. I know we're going to get another one or whatever that's going to be a variant or something, I think, or whatever, but I don't know. I like this one too, so I could deal with this. I don't know, it just looks so cool with these wings on. Cool, well, yeah, that was just going to be fast, but I'll take some pictures of this dude, and like I said, we'll move on to the Ninja Turtles room after this, guys. See you in a second. Or, actually, sorry, I ended that soon. Look, the wings, they'll, like, open up and stuff and move around in the hole, but they'll stay in there. Okay, now I'm really leaving. I'll be back in a second. Alright, here's we're gonna look at this little chill room I made for the new Ninja Turtles. Really, the props really bring this thing alive. Really, it's just the same stuff I talked about before, that blue inch thick foam insulation from like the hardware store and stuff. But really the props set it off in this. Really just a floor and some walls, and I took the old like sewer tunnels from the one of the original play sets, and cut the holes in the foam and slid those in there. The rest is just props from like, a lot of it I think is like WWE stuff. I don't know about that table that I got back there for Donatello and stuff, but I know that came with like Sportsmaster or something like that. And I know this stuff is WWE stuff. And this chair is a WWE prop, and I think this guitar and stuff is too, but like I said, I'm not really too sure. Got a cat and a rat down there. But I just painted it black and then hit it with some gray, like dry brush and stuff, and then I just gave it an overspray with a rattle can just to give it a little bit of a dingy look. Nothing real spectacular or anything. And I had like I'm gonna show you real quick too how to like just enhance your turtles a little bit. Like you can see some of the detail there in the wrap on Michelangelo's feet and on his knee pads and stuff. Like they didn't really put any of that in here. So real quick, I'm gonna show you how to do that too real fast. Give you another look at some more of this real quick. Alright, cool. I'm going to show you how to enhance this these turtles a little bit just by putting a little bit of color in there, in the crevices on their padding and stuff. We'll get to the other stuff again. Hold on one second though. Alright. So we're just going to use this other Donatello I have here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to, not even going to like wash or anything, we're just going to paint inside the crevices and in the scratches on the pads and stuff like that, just to bring out a a little bit of the detail. And we're going to use Citadel this time, some scorched brown. And like I said before, they changed all their names, so it's probably not called that anymore. Just dip your brush in a little bit of water and then wipe it out. You just want it to be a little damp. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to paint inside this little crevice here. You can wipe off any excess still real quick while it's still wet, and it won't smear or nothing. Just if you use your finger to wipe it off, just make sure you wipe it off your finger and don't touch the figure nowhere else. See, just bring out that line a little bit. We'll do the other one too real quick and do some of the cuts in there. See, just bringing out a little bit of the detail. Now we'll hit some of the cuts in the pad there. And some of there's tiny little nicks in there too, so you just dab it in there. See? And then hold on, I'll straighten them out. Like now you can just see the little difference. Sorry, the lighting's terrible. Just get inside there with the brush and just fill in the little scrapes and cuts and stuff in there, and just to bring out a little bit of the detail on the figure, because they didn't really do any shading or any washing of any kind on these things. I'm going to be enhancing all of them. We're going to get to the shell and the skin and all that too eventually. But this is just something real quick you guys could do just to bring out some of the detail, and do the same thing on the wraps here on their feet with the same color. Now for like Leonardo, he has the white wrap, so just use like a light gray or something like that and go along there just like that. And then you can see I filled in the nicks and stuff on his knee pads, and it just looks way better. And like I said, just use like a gray like I did down here on his feet and just fill in the little sculpted lines there. Just trace the sculpted lines with the paintbrush, and it'll just bring out some of that stuff and just make them look a little bit better. Cool. Well, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the Deadpool tutorial. I know it was a complete disaster and was, I don't know, just a nightmare, and I even skipped some of the end because I was just really depressed and really pissed off about how everything went down for that, and I lost footage and you guys missed some stuff, and I'm just pissed off. So yeah, sorry about that. The next tutorial, like figure build or something, is gonna be full on good quality. I'm not even gonna do another one until I can do it absolutely right, and I'm not, because it's embarrassing. That whole tutorial is embarrassing. I don't even want to upload it, but I can't take any longer to put this video out. So like I said, I just hope you guys enjoyed everything you saw, and again, I'm sorry for how shitty the tutorial turned out, but I mean, I'm sure it'll help some of you in some way. But I'm gonna get out of here, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. Peace.